Will a new government in the UK mean a renegotiation of Brexit after the election? What will it mean for UK expats? Will we get closer, darling? Stick around and you'll find out what promises are being made, what the media thinks, and what we might expect when the dust settles. Welcome to YouTooSpain. Hi, I'm Skatz. Hello. Cooey. Bah. It's election time in the UK, in case you didn't notice, and UK expats, that's you, whether you're visitors or living here in Spain, want to know whether it will affect you. It's got a lot to do with Brexit. Can it be unpicked? No, Brexit means Brexit. And can slogans like that get in the way of understanding what's possible? So many questions. Last year, Labour were talking about renegotiating Brexit and getting a better deal. What about rejoining the EU? No! I think they've given up on that because it's just not plausible. There's very little evidence that the EU want it to happen anyway, not without a promise that the UK would definitely stay in this time. Only the lovely Lib Dems are talking about that, darling. And nobody wants them in power. Ugh. And this year, Labour have changed their rhetoric on Brexit to say they're not going to renegotiate. However, the Shadow Chancellor has said this week that parts of the deal could be renegotiated. Which parts, sweetie? I like parts. She suggested seeking closer alignment with the EU rules in the chemicals and veterinary sectors, better touring rights for UK artists, and greater mutual recognition of qualifications for financial services workers. She also said this wasn't an exclusive list and they'd be looking to improve trading relations too. That sounds like a good idea. Brexit means Brexit! And there we have a big problem with the Tories and Reform's position. It's an unalterable dogma. Brexit means refusing to budge or compromise on anything to do with EU rules, even if it means relaxing the bureaucracy that they voted against. Yes, because their core voters prefer a very strong party with very strong fixed policies they understand. With populism continuing to dominate policies, it's difficult to argue a more realistic and compromising set of policies. I mean, who wants to listen to a 10-minute reasoned argument when a soundbite sounds so much better? Starmer has no policies! Well, he does. It's just that according to polls, less than 20% of the population knows what they are and what his stance is. Well, he's not exactly charismatic, darling. Can't argue with that. And yet he's still way ahead in the polls. Anyone who's not deluded or trying desperately to hang on to their job is already convinced it's going to be a Labour win, and by a substantial margin. The rats are leaving the sinking ship! That's one way of putting it. A lot of them are joining the king rat in the party that's not even a real party. It's a non-democratic business with shareholders instead of members. So nobody has a say who's in charge. No, Farage just made himself leader. Like that. No voting, no choice, no control. It's unheard of. But the system is broken. It's time for change. You may not agree with the present system of government in the UK, but that doesn't mean the democratic process should be removed. And that's what Reform have done with their party. Expand that to the whole country and you get a dictatorship led by a rich man pretending to be a man of the people. Stop it, sweetie, you're scaring me. Sorry, these are scary times, what with him and the continued rise of the far right across Europe. They're only saying what we are thinking. That's what worries me. But let's get back to what the election might mean. Do you think the 9180 rule will change for Brit expats? Well, it seems to me that there's a willingness in Labour, at least in what they're saying in the lead up to the election. You can't trust them. Election promises never seem to turn into hard reality. There's a willingness to look at Brexit as a thing of the past and aim for a set of rules to benefit both the UK and the EU. After all, as the Shadow Chancellor said, I don't think anyone voted leave because they weren't happy that chemicals regulations were the same across Europe. That's true. There probably are too many rules and too much red tape, to be honest. Even I was saying that. So it makes sense to find something bureaucracy light in a common ground that makes it easier for Brits and European citizens to work with each other, have extended holidays and spend time and money in each other's countries. Without a single market or a custom union, they are evil. Yours and my ideas of what's evil are worlds apart, darling. So, to cut to the chase, given that after the election, once the promises have been made and the battle won, responsibilities do tend to change and the governing party has to serve the country. and there is a vast pro-European base to the Labour Party that are backing them to win. And it looks like they'll have a big majority so they can push things through more easily. Exactly, so what's the betting that there will be quite a lot of focus on a stronger relationship with the EU and a softening of the hard Brexit? Even I don't like it hard. Bah! Ah, there's the dick we all know and love. Everyone loves a bit of dick. So they might renegotiate loads of rules. Well, all I'm saying is that the EU will no doubt find Starmer a more agreeable and reasonable negotiator than the last 5 prime ministers, and see his election as a more attractive and stabilising prospect.
But Brexit means Brexit!
Even in a dictionary that doesn't make sense. Everything in politics is always in a flux.
A what? Careful, darling.
Are you a fan of Starmer then? Not particularly, but I tell you what I'm not a fan of, and that's the sort of radical extremism that drives people apart and stops reasonable common sense debate.
Snowflake!
And obviously the Colonel here is demonstrating the stereotypical polarised views that make the debate impossible. Thank you for that, Colonel.
My pleasure. Isn't it time you had a lefty extremist stereotype on here too? Just for balance, you understand?
You've got a point there. They don't seem very popular though these days, but it might be fun to shake things up. I'm convinced the election result will do that at least, and create a more favourable platform that will benefit UK expats, whether they're wanting extended visiting rights, visas for young people, less red tape, less trading bureaucracy and more.
But what about the bad things, sweetie?
Well, the financial markets seem to point to a period of good things for UK expats, at least in the short term. Businesses like what they're seeing, otherwise the polls wouldn't be showing such a huge majority.
You've got too much hope and positivity. What's up with you?
Must be the tramadol and steroids, Walter.
Bloody socialist druggy hippie!
Thank you, Colonel.
Always a pleasure playing an arsehole.
What do you think the viewers think? Yeah, they've probably stopped watching by now. They'll either have moved on or they're writing comments in whatever Facebook group they found the link to this video instead of in the comments on YouTube.
The bastards! I love them all.
I do too, sweetie.
Oh, don't you start. I'm all afluster.
That's all for now. Peace and love.
Peas and fluff. Don't forget to like the video if you like a bit of dick. Subscribe for more ridiculous stereotype gobbledygook.
See you in the next video.
Let's dance.